like, oh, but now be alright. I give anything to feel you to me. Is there any place to be where better I'll take the words to you. Alright, I'll take the words to you. Alright, now it's 5 a.m. where I am. Got no sleep once again. I try to lie and pretend that you ain't inside my head. Still, insomnia plays a part, 'cause I don't know where you are. I wonder about all of this and how I got this far. Swimming across the ocean, set my eyes on mountain tide, going through the valleys. Use what you gave me to survive. Everything is different. I can feel such a trend. Just don't could be with where I'd rather be. I'll take the one that leads to you, the corner of me and you. I'll take the one that leads to you, the corner of me and you. Sun, I'll be there soon. Will not find by the day. Call me, come and find me. I've been searching, tired of traveling. I hope to come right back to you. So sure there's no place like you. Hope to come right back to you. So sure there's no place like you. Hope to come right back to you. So sure there's no place like you. I hope to come right back to you. You, to you. Your body, so far away. I feel you all over me. Hey, say you'll stay stay. Once you get here, babe, you can't stay. A fantasy, thinking of you against my skin. My mind is racing with this mode that I'm in. I don't know if you were aware. Looking for limits, I don't see them nowhere. I wanna be doing lovers. Energies. I'm thinking this. So it ain't really that strange. But messing this up would be a shame. Stay on, stay. Yeah, a fantasy. I wanna be doing lovers too. You know you want to doing lovers too. Do what they do, doing lovers too. So can we do doing lovers too? Yeah, doing lovers too. Yeah, doing lovers too. What's going on? Well, Alex Isley, you know what I'm saying? A couple people are not gonna be able to join. They told me, but we'll wait for a little bit longer. See who's gonna pop up. How you doing, Chris? Hold on, I can't hear you. Say it one more time. Wait, why can I not hear anything? Hold on. Probably me. Say it one more time. What's going on? Oh, so it is me. All right, let me figure this out. Headphones picking it up? Let me see. What is what is
Yeah.
All right, can you hear me now?
Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you just fine.
I can hear you. Okay. We're back.
Awesome.
All right.
Are you still in LA or are you back?
I actually didn't go to LA. I didn't go to LA for Alice.
No, you didn't?
I skipped Alice this year.
All right.
Hmm. I think Christina was there.
Yeah, I was there. It was very white. Oh my god, I have some funny pictures of like me and then like just a sea of white dudes in like navy and black jackets.
All suits, all ties,
Mhm.
navy and black. That sounds about right.
But I did make some good connections. I met some folk in person that I'd been emailing with.
Sure.
And they were impressed that I showed up, even when I didn't have a ticket at first. And then one of the funds that's interested in leading our round had an extra pass and like gave me a pass. So it all worked out.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Also, everyone congregates like outside by Starbucks. So like you
Yeah.
can easily just like network outside without actually getting a ticket. I learned, which was nice.
I actually met a guy at one of these conferences that does basically that. He goes to like every single hotel conference, but he just hangs out outside in Starbucks.
Like everyone is there. Like everyone, like it literally, the conference was basically outside.
Yeah.
Like if it wasn't for a session, like everyone was outside anyways.
Yeah.
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 That's awesome.
I've actually never gotten a ticket to Alice, so I've always just worked outside.
Love it.
Or because everybody is there, like Christina said, you just kind of schedule your meetings accordingly, right? So
Yep.
you know all the players are going to be in town, so you reach out really early January and set up your calendar. And honestly, if you think about all those restaurants, Wolfgang Pucks and all those spots, they're usually
Yard
filled
House
with,
stuff.
they're
Yep.
filled with attendees of the conference having meetings. So
Yep.
that's the way to do it. So now you know for next year how it all goes.
I've heard about Chris too. That's in the Caribbean.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I'm gonna go to that. I need to look up what the rest. Is there a Latin American one? Someone just mentioned that, but I didn't know what it was called.
I think that there is, but I'm not as familiar with it, to be honest.
Okay.
I can ask my friend. He went to one last year. He went to one in Caribbean and one for LATAM as well. So I can
Okay.
shoot you a message or something
I
after.
so appreciate that. Yeah, because my property is in Costa Rica, so I'm like, I want to get some reach. Because like this one was for Americas, but like they're really just talking about North America,
Right. Right.
the
Yeah.
consensus.
Yeah. Cool.
Super cool, super cool. Let me see something real quick before we get going.
How do funds in terms of like, how are you thinking about funds as coming into your project? Are you sort of like the sponsor for the project and then most of the financing comes from funds, or are you an investor as well? How are you thinking about the project? I was just curious.
For mine,
Yeah.
yeah, so I'm raising from funds and taking a portion of their raise as my acquisition fee and then reinvesting the acquisition fee back into the company. So they're paying for everything, but I get to
That's the best way to do it. That's great.
Damon taught me these tricks.
Right, right.
Very
He's
Nice.
like, this is how you flip it.
Yeah, that's awesome. And how did you kind of start pitching them or think about like, okay, I want funds to invest in this, and then how did the process journey start for you?
I had mostly connections in tech investors. So I started reaching out to my tech network, asking for intros to the real estate folk, and then have been starting to go to hospitality conferences and then getting recommendations for like where I should be and just showing up now and just like
Yeah.
I've built a skill in pitching. So I because I ran a previous tech company, and so I have the confidence to pitch in person and
Awesome.
via email.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, like honestly, I don't know if before, like I think my current company like was my training ground and like prepped me for what my life was ultimately going to be with this.
Yeah.
And I would have felt as confident going in if I hadn't had the prior experience.
Awesome. Awesome.
Really awesome. All right, let me see something real quick. All right, let's get into it. All right, I know Christina wasn't here last week, but y'all had homework. Y'all did have some homework. How did the homework go? I'm mad Latasha's not here because I know she wanted this the most. But how was the homework? What did y'all figure out? Do you even remember what the homework was?
Fix the spreadsheet.
The spreadsheet and
Add your
adding
acquisition fee or development
the
fee.
development fee.
Yeah. that I had done even in the class. So I think you kind of showed us how to do it. So I didn't know if that was much of a homework.
Right.
Is the development fee different than acquisition fee?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes, it is.
damn, I
Did you
missed
forget to
that.
charge that?
Yes, but I will add it. It might be.
$100,000 made.
I'm like, and another 250 to Christina.
Yes. Let me actually pull this up so I can share my screen real quick. 1 second. Yeah, that development fee. Chris, were you able to get the development fee figured out?
I didn't do that, but I added the rest of it.
Okay, okay.
I saw that like you had interior design fees, but you didn't have architecture fees. You didn't have like MEP. You didn't have like a lot of other fees in there, which made me sad when that number just kept on creeping.
Kept going up.
Yeah.
and going up.
Depends. I mean, that also means your acquisition and development fees are going up. So it depends on what
Right.
side of the budget you're on.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, let's take a look at something real quick. Let's just refresh. I know Christina wasn't here, but hopefully, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go back to this part of the screen. What is stabilization?
When you get to your project starts earning at the potential that you projected to earn at. So once all the renovations go to market has been completed, that's a stable revenue that your asset is able to earn.
If you had to estimate, how long do you think it'll take you to get to stabilization?
It depends on the project. I think if it's like if it's a branded project, we typically say 6 months, 3 to 6 months. If it's unbranded, often a year, at least, I would imagine. But I don't know.
would think like 3 years.
I think that's what you had in the spreadsheet, Damon. At least for me, it was like 3 years or so.
I got 3 years.
Yeah.
I got 3 years to stabilization. Yeah, give me yourself enough runway. It honestly, it depends, right? Because you think about that first year, if you're an unbranded and unflagged property, you got to spend a lot to get people to know and understand that you're there, right? And you think about just the life cycle. So let's say you open in the spring, you do a huge marketing push, you try to do some marketing ahead of time, you got a little bit of buzz. Now you open in the spring, summer's here. You've lowered your ADR because you're trying to get more people in the door, right? A year goes by like that, right? And now you're getting into the second year. Maybe you're up to where your ADR should be. Maybe not. Maybe you're still in that marketing phase, right? Like, let's think about a year. Let's think about 3 years. Let's say you opened a property right before COVID, you're just now stabilizing. And that doesn't feel like that was that long ago.
Mm-hmm.
Like, really just think about time. So I've always, in pro formas that I've sent out, I've given a 36-month runway to stabilization. And that also pairs up really well if you're taking in debt or any other capital, right? If you're taking any kind of bridge lending, the term on it is typically 2 years with a 1-year extension. And ideally, you would want to refi out of that loan at stabilization. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Makes sense.
Everybody tracking?
Yeah.
It's okay if you're not tracking. I can slow it down. A couple of us today, so I can slow it down if you're not tracking. But you want
Wait, what was the part you said about refinancing?
You want to refi with your property at peak performance.
Yeah.
Peak performance means what?
Stabilization.
Yeah.
But even better than that, like if you're at peak performance, maybe you even crushed your initial projections. What does that mean for your project? Okay, let me say this. Let me say it better. What does it mean for the property?
Oh, the values increased?
Exactly.
Oh, so we want to refinance because we have a higher asset, like the asset's worth more.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
Oh, someone gave me a good tip at the conference. They said after I buy my property, I should immediately get it appraised again. So at a higher appraisal before I go to financing.
Oh yeah, for sure. For
That
sure.
was
If it'll praise higher. Hopefully it will.
mine definitely will. They're selling a way underpriced. They're just the seller's trying to get rid of their assets, and so they're selling 12 acres for like 2 mil. It's crazy.
Nice.
I'm like, yes, please sign me up.
That's what's up. What is the difference now? What's the difference between a GP and an LP? What's a GP? What's an LP?
Sorry, one more question about
Yeah,
stabilization.
go ahead.
When you say 3 years, then what do you bake in any assumptions about year 1, year 2, year 3, like standard assumptions, like you'll get 50% year 1 or 75% year, like, well, how do you think about that?
Yeah, you could do it like that. You could say 50% year one, 75% year two, you're getting to 100% year three. That's a good way to think about it. But it also depends on the market and
Right.
where you're coming in that market. So, but if that's the standard way to look at it, I don't think anybody's gonna balk at you looking at a pro forma that looks like that.
I just made those numbers up. I mean, I did it,
I mean,
like it could be 80,
I,
90, 100, I don't know, but I was just curious.
for me, it depends on if you're creating a whole new product type in a market that doesn't have it. Are you renovating an existing property? Do you already have penetration in a market, and then you're kind of building on that? I think it's easier to say, okay, I already have, like for you, for example, you already have the asset.
Yeah.
I don't believe that your occupancy is going to dip that far down, right? What is your occupancy today?
It's about 50 in the winters and about 75 in the summers right now.
Right.
75 to 80 in the summers.
And I would imagine even in the first year, you're probably going to do about that.
Yeah. Well, we're also dropping. Yeah. Okay, got it.
Yeah. From an occupancy standpoint, and you'll do obviously higher on an ADR standpoint. I don't believe that you're going to lose, even bumping up the ADR. I don't believe you're going to lose that much. You might actually gain a little bit. So in year one, at least,
Right.
even with you doing all the marketing and getting the brand out there. So
Yeah.
something to consider. What is the interest reserve? Interest reserve. What is interest reserve?
The money that you set aside for the construction period to make interest-only payments.
Exactly. Exactly. So that is money that you're also raising towards. So you are asking the bank and equity partners for money. Here goes Marion. To pay for the debt service while you're renovating. All right, and I asked this question, but we didn't answer it. What is the difference between a GP and an LP? What's a GP? What's an LP?
General partner and limited partner.
What's the difference between the two?
Limited partner, I think we said has money instead of time, and GP has time instead of money.
Yep. That's the best way.
The LP gives the GP money.
Yep. Which one are y'all?
We're GPs.
All right. Who can explain the difference between LTV and LTC?
loan to value and loan to cost. We covered that, the meaning of those terms. Value is the total value of the asset itself. So the value of, or the cost of the loan compared to like 80%, the assets worth 5 million, the loans for 4 million, for example.
Right.
And then loan to cost.
Wait, what did you say about that? About the total value of the asset?
So loan to value is the loan compared to the valuation, like the appraisal of the asset. So let's say the asset is worth 5 million or the valued at $10 million. And then 80% loan would be, $8 million out of that 10 million.
Okay.
Yep. That's the loan to value. What about loan to cost? And what's up, Miriam? Where you at in the world?
Hey, I'm in Brazil.
Nice.
Wow.
Sorry, the timing, I got confused. I thought it was 8:30. It's 10:30 over here.
Hi, Miriam.
Hey, hey, everybody.
Wait, it's 10:30 over there right now?
Yeah, it's 10:30. It's 2 hours ahead over here.
I'm confused. How is that even possible? That doesn't even make sense. I gotta look at that. Okay.
Loan to cost could also include other items, like all the other fees, not just the appraised value, but like other liens and other items that might be involved in the purchase, like commissions, fees, loan fees, the total cost of the project, which may in some cases be more than the value of the asset.
Could be, or it could be less.
Or it could be less, yeah.
And the way that I explained it, so for everybody again, LTC, LTV, let's think of it as a car. You're buying a car, right? Last week we talked about a G-Wagon. Somebody said they want a G-Wagon. I said, cool. You want a G-Wagon? How much is a G-Wagon gonna cost? It's gonna cost you $100,000. You're buying it. You're not leasing it, you're buying it. You are gonna get it for $100,000. You go to a bank, you get a loan for the value of the vehicle, right? For the value of the vehicle. That loan, like getting it for $100,000. Oh, here goes Latasha. That's why I was waiting to see if she was gonna join. Okay. The crew is here. We just running on CP time, I see. Yep. Hey, do you know what CP time is? Chris, do you know what CP time is? Man, I was hoping that you would shake your head like that. Running on colored people time. Okay? Colored people time. We be late. We don't be trying to be late. Stuff just happens. You know what I mean? Like you're driving down the road, the train comes right when you trying to get there. You know, it is what it is. But I'm happy to see you, Natasha, because this is your day. Talking about the numbers and how you're gonna get paid. But we had talked about it, loan to value. So getting a loan for the value of that vehicle and then getting a loan for how much that vehicle actually costs. If you buy a car, you take it off the lot, it loses 15% of its value. So you bought it for $100,000. As soon as you drive it off the lot, it's a used car. It's now worth $85,000, right? But you got a loan for 80 because you got it for the value of the car. Now, if you went to go sell that car again or buy that car used at 85, and you got that's an $80,000 loan still, now you're getting it for how much it actually costs. Does that make sense? Y'all tracking? Y'all tracking where I'm at with this? Okay. All right. FF&E. What is that?
Furniture, fixtures, and equipment.
Furniture, fixtures, and equipment. OS&E.
Owners, supplies, and equipment.
What's the difference between the two? Why do we have to differentiate FF&E and OS&E? What's OS&E?
You said owner supplies and equipment?
It could be
Operating or owner.
or operating supplies and equipment. What's the difference between the two? You got FF&E, but what's OS&E?
Furnitures, OS&E is like the smaller things that are that need to be replenished regularly. So that run out: soaps, towels, tissues, smaller things like that. Furniture, fixture, while not the same as building, typically you have to replace them on a longer life cycle. So carpet, well, I don't know if actually carpet falls in FF&E, but beds, sofas, chairs, refrigerator, those sorts of things with a longer life cycle would fall under FF&E. Things that have a shorter life cycle, run out like within a week or so, then those will be falling under OS&E.
Yep. All right, let's get down to the homework. I know Miriam wasn't here, it's all good. Christina, you weren't here, it's all good. But Latasha, Chris, Hermaine, y'all have some homework. What is y'all development fee?
Ooh.
Look at
Okay,
y'all.
I'm pulling mine up.
I hear y'all over here using calculators, trying to do the math.
Well, you know what? I actually put mine into the model and I
Ooh,
hope
okay.
I did it right.
Okay.
I'm just pulling it up on a different computer.
I got 576,000 and change.
576,000. Woo! What was your percentage
5%.
of the total deal?
Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
So I have 2% in, but what should the 2% be? Should it be like land value or like the total 13 million at the end of the 2% of the 13 million?
I was waiting for somebody to ask that question. You know what the correct answer is?
It's whatever I want it to be, probably.
Hey,
Whatever you can get away with, my man. Whatever you can get away with.
so the average, so is it based on a percentage? Is that what I'm gathering?
Yeah, you
So
based on
2 to
percentage.
5%?
Yep. I've seen typically around 5%. Some people will do that 5% on just development costs. Right? So if you have an acquisition, you'll take your acquisition fee on acquiring the property and take your development fee just on the development cost. I've also seen people take it off of the whole deal, right? Because it's a full package. I got to source debt, I got to source equity, I got to buy the thing, I got to innovate it.
Okay, but if you do that, then does that mean your acquisition fee should be lower?
No, again, it is what you can get
And you
away
get
with.
salary on top of that?
It is what you can get away with. I have seen people do deals all different types of ways. I wouldn't go above 5% across the board, but however you choose to do it, if you could defend it, do it.
How often does
The way I'm
that
gonna finish this.
prove?
Hold
Damon,
on.
like when you're pitching to like somebody and you're showing them the numbers and they're looking at the project budget and they see a development fee of 2 or 5%. How often does someone say, well, what is that fee and why should that fee be included? Things like that.
I've never heard it. I've only saw pushback one time on somebody else's pro forma because they included a 10% development.
That's wow.
And that was like, wait a minute.
They're wild.
And
that was a little crazy. But 5%, I've never. And honestly, you can toggle. You can do what you think is fair to the deal, right? I remember looking at a very small project, and it was like, honestly, the amount of work that you're putting into a small project is even more than a bigger project at times. It
Yeah.
might cause you to go a little bit more aggressive on your development fee. It's like, look, I'm doing a lot of work. It might be 8%. I wouldn't go as high as 10. Well, I might, if I could swing an 8. And guess what? Let investors tell you otherwise.
Mm.
and sorry, just because I missed last week, and I'll schedule office hours so I can get more into it. Is the development fee something that's being paid to us directly as developers, or?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So what we did, I actually, I know I've been slacking, y'all. I uploaded all the previous classes onto your member portal. They are on there. So officially, y'all have access to those. But I showed where to add in the development fee. I didn't give any direction, as some of you have laid out, on where to pull that from, because to be honest, that's up to you. I was just curious what y'all development fee ended up coming out to. So Latasha, tell me where yours is.
So mine came out to 487. Yeah.
And what?
Yeah.
How did you? What's the percentage that you take in?
So I just kept it with actually with what you kind of told us last in class. I kept it with the acquisition fee at 2% and then the development fee at 5%.
Okay, and 5% of the total deal size.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that came out to be 282.
And so
Yeah, 5%.
So 282, and then your acquisition fee was what?
Acquisition. Let's see, 205.
205 on acquisition?
Yeah.
Okay. Your acquisition fee is coming from where?
Land purchase is underneath that category.
All right, so do me a favor. Click on, let me actually, we're gonna do this together. Let me see. Because this is what I want you to check for me.
Okay.
If you're talking about an acquisition fee, where should that be pulling from?
It's not land acquisition?
No, I put it for the total project, 2% of the total
You
project.
did it for the total project. Okay.
Oh.
What was your thinking there on the total, on doing it for the total project?
Well,
One big percentage.
one is that, I asked you this question last time and you said do it on the total project. But when I've looked at syndications and whatnot, typically there's an acquisition fee of 2 to 5%. That's pretty common, and it's usually on the total project. So that's how I kind of placed it. I wasn't familiar with the development fee being also on the total project, so that was news to me. But I asked you that and you said do it. So I put acquisition fee 2% of total project and development fee 5% of total project.
I'm gonna tell you, there's no right or wrong answer on this. There really is not. If you feel comfortable, I'm gonna tell you what I did. I did the acquisition fee 2% of the acquisition. Right? So if I'm buying it for 5 million, I did 2% of the acquisition. It's just easy for me to defend. Like, yeah, I'm taking an acquisition fee because I facilitated this purchase. Then on the development fee, I did 5% against just the development costs. Right? I guarantee you my fee is cheaper, is not pulling as much as y'all's is. Right? It's just not. You probably have closer to 500,000, and there's nothing wrong with that.
So what would be, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just gonna ask, so I know you said that, so if you do it based off the total project cost, where are you putting that into? Onto the, within the, like, where is that line item going to? Is it like underneath where it's got, underneath the project budget?
Great question.
Like within the total, like where it actually says total project costs, like where would that go? Oh, I see the total development budget.
Great question. Great question. Excuse all my tabs. I'm a notorious tab hoarder. So forgive me. Let me make this a little bit bigger. All right, so where did I put my development fee? I put it in the financing costs. So I added that line item. Oh, what's what? Let me see that percentage right there. There we go. Okay. So,
Okay. Yeah, that's where I put mine. Okay.
Yep. And then the acquisition fee. So mine, with double click, is pulling 2% of the cost of the acquisition.
Got it.
Yeah. But
Okay.
then it actually ends up being a higher acquisition. If the purchase price is 5.3, ends up being 5.6 when you add in all of it.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it.
Do you see investors asking for the like deed to the land or anything like that? Because in my case, I got the land, but what I got the land for is not like someone else's price, right? I got it for a hookup.
Oh yeah. No. So, okay. I'm so glad you're asking these questions. These are great questions. If I'm investing in the property, I'm investing in the actual value. Okay. So say you got a hookup. Say you got, so let's just say, for example, this property is worth $1 million. You got it for 100 grand. Guess what? You have 900,000 in equity out the gate. Because it was worth this, but you got it for this. The true value is what goes in the pro forma, not the homie discount. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because theoretically, what you would be doing is you would be raising to, and hopefully this makes sense, acquire the property from yourself.
Wait.
Are you tracking? Are you tracking? You with me? Not with me? Okay, it's okay. You own an asset, right? You own the asset. Let's even take it even further. Your grandma gave you a house. Your grandma, before she passed away, she left all her grandkids property. Your grandma left you a house. You got it for free. The house is worth $1 million. It got land. It's like on the ocean. It's crazy. It's worth $1 million. You're gonna turn this into a hotel. So you got it for free, worth $1 million. Guess what? The property is $1 million. So if you are going out to raise capital, you would put your purchase price at $1 million, then layer in all the other fees. Maybe it ends up being $5 million. You're purchasing it for $1 million, you're putting $4 million into it. Guess what you do? That $1 million, that's yours. You're buying it from yourself. Because you're going to create an entity, right? LLC or whatever entity that's going to then take the investor capital, any bank capital, and go purchase this property. And you're purchasing it from you, the person, for $1 million.
But what if I don't want the company to own it because I won't be like a majority holder of the company?
Yeah, so the way that, and I've gotten this question. I feel like Christina asked me this question before a million
Mhm.
times. I've heard this a million times. The way you think about it, you will always own this property. You, as the GP, are always the owner. You are the general partner. They are the limited partner, right?
And then what, okay, so if we sell, cause I get where the concern is too, is like if we sell the property, do we still own the land? Or like if we move from GP to or CEO or whatever to maybe like a chair on the board, what's the relationship there with our ownership of it?
Okay, let's think about this real quick. So you set up a entity,
Mhm.
you are the managing member of, you've got, I don't know, 10 investors,
Mhm.
and those 10 investors all gave you $1 million a piece to make it easy round math. So 10 investors gave you $1 million a piece, and you put it into this entity, Unpacking CEO LLC.
Mhm.
Of the entity, you can own, as the managing member, 51%, and they own 49. Doesn't really make a difference. The only focus for them is them getting, you're promising them capital and you're promising them a return, right? Whether it's 10%, 15% on their money. So if they putting in $1 million, they're expected to get back, if it's 10%, $1 million, and then $100 grand on top of it. Right? Hopefully
Right.
you kill it and you double their money. Oh my God, you double their money. They gave you $1 million, you give them $2 million back. You could do even better than that. They gave you $1 million, you give them $3 million back.
Mhm.
During the life cycle of the deal, there is a million ways to do it. If you wanted to, you could keep your investors in the deal for the life of it. You say, I'm never selling this. I want to make my investors happy. You keep them with you forever.
I was gonna ask you about that. Is that okay, or will investors get upset if we never sell the property?
It depends.
Because returns can come from revenues, right?
Yep. It depends. It depends on, I don't know. It depends on how good you're crushing it. It depends on a myriad of factors. If you go into it realizing you're never going to sell, that's one thing. And if you were going into a deal thinking I'm never selling this project, then maybe you keep them in, or maybe you promise them 3x on their money in a certain time period, and once you hit that, you buy them out.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's I've seen deals where you're in it into perpetuity,
Mm-hmm.
and I've seen it where as we start to pay you back and get closer to whatever we promise you a 3x. Once we get you to a 3x, you're done.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What advice I've been given, especially on your first deal, and take this for a grain of salt, take it for what it's worth. It might make sense to keep investors in the deal into perpetuity on the first one.
Okay.
Right? They'll stay happy. You've made them a bunch of money. Now you're going to do 2, 3, and 4. And you're saying, hey, look what I did for you over here. Let's go do it again. Now that we're doing it again, the terms are different. You know what I'm saying? Yesterday's price is not today's price. You know, so that's advice that I've been given. So you take that how you want. Any other questions? All right. Let me see. Let me stop share real quick. Ooh, the numbers. What is my
What column or cell were you referencing for your development fee?
I added a cell and it's in between the broker fee and the interest reserve. So
No, but what formula, sorry, what, like 5% times which, like total?
5% times 110. So the total development budget.
Okay.
I don't know what it is on yours.
Yeah.
But I did 5% of the total development budget. But again, you can do it 5% of the total deal cost. It's going to be significantly higher. Actually, let me do that right now. I'm going to do it against the total deal cost. Yeah, it's like 500 grand. That's crazy. I don't even know if I need that much money. You know what I'm saying? That is crazy. But if you need the money, let's think about that. You take 500 grand and you say half of that I'm leaving in the deal.
Mm-hmm.
So when investors ask you, well, how much money are you bringing to the table? I'm bringing 250 grand because I'm not taking the full fee. So if you do 5% of the total deal, now you got 250 that you're taking, 250 that you're leaving in. And that's your skin in the game. All right, so real quick, Latasha, tell me what your total was with your acquisition fee and your development fee one more time.
It was 487, but I'm sitting here thinking that I may have put in the development fee incorrectly.
Okay.
Like I don't think that I'm pulling the 5% from, it's supposed to be the total deal, like the total development budget, right?
Good, yeah,
Can come out of that? Okay. Yeah, but I got 487.
I'll share my screen one more time real quick so you can see exactly what I was doing when I just changed it.
Okay.
Here's my development fee right here, 106. I'm taking 5%. Now I'm taking 5%, and it makes sense, right? Like this is 10 million, 5% of that, $500,000. Makes sense. Before, let me double click on it. So I'm taking 5% of the total cost. But before I was doing 5% of just the development costs, which is right here.
Okay,
Significantly less.
got it. Yeah, okay.
Mhm. I was, you know what? I was liking that other one. That one was juicier, way juicier. I'm digging that. I'm feeling that, y'all. I'm feeling that one right there, y'all.
Is this paid at closing or is it paid over time? The development fee and acquisition fee, I'm pretty sure it's paid at closing, but
Yeah, your acquisition fee is paid at closing of the land, assuming that you are doing both separately.
Mhm.
But most times you're doing them at the same time.
Mhm.
You're acquiring the property and raising the funds to develop it.
Mhm.
And so the development fee is really to help you to pay for those costs that you're going to incur during that development timeline and sustain yourself.
See,
So
I'm using that as my excuse for like so I'm raising 2.5 for the land acquisition.
Yep.
And I put 300K as my acquisition fee. And that looks high, but my argument is we're going to be in development for at least 2 years. And the work that I've already done up to this point is included in that number. And then I will also take the development fee when we raise the development fund, but I want to guarantee that I have funding to sustain myself in that in between time? Because what if it takes 6 months to a year to raise the development?
Right. Look, like I said, I'm gonna repeat myself one more time. Raise what you can get away with. If you can get away with it, and you're being transparent and telling
Right.
people like it looks hard, but this is what I need it for.
Yeah.
If you can do it, by all means, do it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, like seriously. Yeah. And so like if you were doing the acquisition first and then gonna go raise capital, for the development second, then if that requires you to take a higher acquisition fee, look, if they gonna fund it, do your thing.
Mhm.
And would you so take, say you acquired the land already, would you still put a land acquisition fee? And would that be used for, I'm assuming it wouldn't be used for pre-development stuff, that would be the development fee, right?
You can use the acquisition fee for whatever the heck you want to use it for.
Okay. And then
The development fee, look, there's going to be costs that you're going to incur while you're developing, right? While you're going through the process, I don't know, like you got to drive to the property. You gotta meet such and such for an inspection. You gotta.
So is that not so say, because I was talking to a developer, and they were saying for the team for pre-development stages, getting all the numbers together and stuff, like a offsite, like the main architect and the on-site architect and then the engineer and stuff to see where all the stuff is going. He said it would be like 10 to 15K a month. Would I be paying them from my development fee, or is that listed within the pro forma?
Yeah, that's a great question. What I would do is actually put in that cost, especially if you know it, into the pro forma. And so Chris mentioned it earlier, there were things that were missing, and we had talked about this. MEP, architecture, that's not in here. So if you know that you're gonna need, your architect's gonna need to be doing X, Y, and Z, and that's gonna cost you $2,000 a month. I'm just throwing numbers out there. Figure out what that's gonna be over the lifetime of the development. Add that in here, right? Add those costs in. That would be my suggestion.
Okay.
Yeah. If you start to add them in and it starts looking crazy, the best advice that I can give is, I'm trying to think how to say this, but you need to be able to defend the numbers that you are putting in front of investors, right? And there needs to be a reasonable and logical explanation for everything that you put in there. I'm giving you best practice, right? So I'm saying I really keep the development fee around 5%. 5% of what? You determine that. You know what I'm saying? If you get pushback, then figure it out. But what I realize is everybody's trying to figure out the fees for themselves. So we're looking at this, we're looking at the development fee, that's 5. My acquisition is 2% of the acquisition, that's 6, right? And then did we even talk about this investment management fee once we are actually up and running that I'm going to take annually at 2%?
No, not yet.
Yeah, we didn't talk about that. On top of your returns that you're getting because you own the deal, we ain't talk about that either. Let's go to the waterfall real quick. I'm looking at the waterfall and I'm looking at how much potentially I could be making as a GP, and it's looking kind of crazy. Let's go down to the, let me scroll down to the bottom. Where is it? Oh, right here. The sponsor returns. It can be crazy. Let's backtrack real quick. I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves. If you have your pro forma in front of you, let's go to the 5 year. Let me actually reduce my size on this joint. That's too small. Go to your 5 year pro forma really quick. And let me know when you're there. And man, what was your development fee and acquisition fee collectively? What was that? What was the total?
I actually changed it after seeing your formula, but initially it was like 750,000
Got
about.
it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. What did you change?
I made the acquisition fee part of the
The total.
just the project property acquisition. So now it's about 300 and so 100,000 for acquisition and 200,000 for development fee. So it's total of about 300,000 now.
All right. And if you are at the 5 year, let's take a look. Let's take a look at what's happening here. I mean, how many of you are obviously, man, you know what a 5 year pro forma looks like. You've seen these, you've made these before, but everybody else, does this look foreign to you? Are you understanding what's happening?
I'm understanding a little bit.
You're tracking a little bit. Okay, that's why we're here. That's why we're here. Do you understand where that rooms number is coming from? How am I getting 2 million from the rooms? Where is that coming from?
Is that just like the revenue you make off of the rooms at a certain occupancy?
Yeah. Exactly. And that's kind of figured out here. You know, if you're looking at your occupancy, that's how many rooms are occupied. At that ADR, get you that. Meetings and special events, that's pulling from the operating P&L. Okay, see what's going on. I see what's going on. Food and beverage, that's pulling from the managed F&B numbers. What would other be?
Could be marketplace, vending, gift shop, smaller operations that are not, I mean, 432,000 is a good number. So that's a, you know, I don't know what all that includes, but in our hotel, at least, we have like vending revenue, we have like marketplace revenue. These are other items. Sometimes you have laundry or other smaller facilities, which are also revenue generating. It could even be like a lease for some space that is not core to your business.
Mhm. I also think about parking, right? Does your hotel charge for parking? Are you in the city? You're gonna charge, I don't know, $35 a night? Well, you've seen that before for valet. Let's go down. Look at some of these undistributed expenses. What do you think is admin in general? What's admin in general? What would that be?
that's the manager and other generally management and operating kind of costs that are not specific to like housekeepers or front desk or the bartenders, or nothing specific to a department. It's across the board, licenses and fees and managers and supervisors that are not to a specific department.
I have a quick question, because I don't think I've ever asked this. Who has actually worked in a hotel before? Anybody? Okay. All right. Information and telecom, what is that?
I worked on a cruise ship.
Now that counts. That counts.
I worked for Disney back in the day.
Totally see that actually. Yeah, what is information and telecom? What is that?
Computers, internet, iPads, phones, software licenses.
You gotta pay for the Wi-Fi, you gotta pay for, all that stuff. Credit card commission. What is credit card commission?
Is that the 2% that card process or card payments and processes like take?
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Yep, gotta factor that in, because every time somebody swipes a credit card, you're getting charged for it. Obviously, you have your sales and marketing, and maybe that's too high, maybe that's too low. What are you spending on sales and marketing annually? You got an unflagged property. How are you getting the word out? How much is it gonna cost? How are you going about your marketing plan? Are you doing on social media? What is your marketing plan? And then we got obviously repairs and maintenance, and then utilities. And then you see here the management fee. Management fee. What is another fee that could also coincide with the management fee? Let's say you were going to do a soft brand.
Franchise fee.
Franchise fee. What else?
And there's also asset management fee, where this is hotel management, then there's asset management.
Yep. It could be an asset management fee. This is an interesting one, right? Say you're creating a brand and you're not going to do the management. What other fee would you include in there? I'm looking specifically at a couple of y'all. You created this brand. This is this crazy dope brand, but you're not gonna do the management. You're gonna hire a third-party management company because you ain't got time for that. But you have a brand ethos. You have like this brand that you're trying to get off the ground. How are you gonna?
Would that be like PR?
It could be. I like the way you're thinking. I like the direction that you're going. You just created, is it Issa too? Dope brand, dope brand. But are you going to manage it yourself? You might actually manage it yourself, right? Maybe.
I'll probably get some help.
Probably get some help.
Oh, Demon.
Yep.
Is this where, okay, so like how it says management fee is 4%, but it's like it's a 2% split, like the management company gets 2% of that and then you keep the 2%?
No, not
Or
necessarily.
the one breeze split or something?
So I'll give you an example. I was working on a project where I did a brand licensing fee.
Okay.
Okay. A 1.5% brand licensing fee. Why? Because I created this brand. And you're going to use that brand to get people through the door. That's valuable, right?
Wait, I think I'm confused because I remember you said earlier, you were taking a management fee of 2% for yourself. And then on this line item, it says 4%. And I know that a portion of that actually does go to the management group, but do you also take a percentage of that management fee if you're paying a management group at the same time?
No, so what I did even in brand licensing,
Mhm.
I left whatever the management fee is,
Mhm.
the management company is gonna tell you what their fee is,
Got it.
right? So like, if I'm
Is
getting a
there a
third-party
limit of like, we should be like, you're tripping?
I think anything between 3-5% is on the higher end. You don't really see
Okay.
it, but like 3 to 5 is normal.
Okay.
And so they're going to tell you what their fee is, right? It might be 3%, 3.5%, 4%. I really rarely have seen 5, but I don't know if it's a really good management company, maybe they'll take a higher cut. They'll tell you what their fee is. You figure out what it means to license your brand.
Mm.
I've done it where the management fee is at 4% and I'm charging a 1.5% brand licensing fee to the deal.
Oh, okay. So if we're paying the management group, we replace our portion of that profit to be the brand licensing at 2%. Like, what I mean is,
right now.
like if I wasn't using a management group, if it was just me, we were like earlier saying like, yeah, you get 2% of that each year from the profits. But if we are putting that to the management group, then we replace our portion of that management fee with the brand licensing fee. Like we'll still get the 2%, but it comes out of the category of brand licensing rather than management.
Those are two different things, I think, right? One is for managing the hotel.
Yeah.
The second fee is just for using the name, right? Like if you put, let's say you put, I don't know, Starbucks, right? If you decide to buy a building, put a Starbucks in it, you pay Starbucks a commission for using their name. So it's just for using the name and the brand. It has nothing to do with running the Starbucks, right? It's just like, because you put the logo on there, you put, you know, I don't know,
like that attracts people because there's familiarity with their brand.
Yeah, it's the brand name, right? Like people will buy stuff from you because of the brand name. So
if I'm my management and I'm not using a management group, then we don't have a brand licensing fee. Is that right or no?
No, I mean, it's up to you. Again, it is what you can get away with. I'm going to repeat that. Right? If you are also doing the management, okay, what happens if that changes? What happens if after a year or two, you decide this is too much, I want to hire a third-party manager, then what? Right? So the way that you should think about it is separate each individual thing as its own thing. The management fee, whether you're doing it or somebody else is doing it, that's getting paid out.
Okay.
Right? The brand licensing fee doesn't matter whether you do it or somebody else is doing it, that gets paid out.
Okay.
These are all separate fees. The development fee, that gets paid out regardless. Acquisition fee, that gets paid out regardless. But the whole reason why I wanted to go through this exercise is I wanted you to understand that there are a whole bunch of ways, right, to make sure that you are compensated as you're going out and making these deals happen. And that is the name of the game, because you don't want to be struggling trying to make ends meet while you raising millions of dollars. Like, you've got to be savvy enough to figure out, how am I going to insert fees that you can defend to investors, things that they've seen before, things that are not crazy, not going to pop up off the page and be like, yo, what is this? 10%, you're wilding. You know what I'm saying? 5%, okay, we can slide that in. 4%, you're golden. You're looking real conservative at 4%. You know what I'm saying? You're looking real conservative. Oh, okay, like I've seen people will say that, oh, market is usually like 5%. Why are you taking 4%? Because I want to be fair to my investors. Meanwhile, that's 400 racks. You know what I'm saying? Like, what? You know what I'm saying? Like, I want you have to start thinking like this. Get this into your brain. Like, this is how you got to think about making this stuff happen, because this is a lot of work. It's a lot of work. You know what's not in here? The fixed charges, taxes. I think we talked about that briefly. Taxes not in here. And you have to figure out, what are your taxes, what are your property taxes going to be annually, right?
Yeah.
You have to fill that in. What about insurance? You're going to need insurance. That's going to be important. What's your insurance? It varies on depending on where you at, right? I was just talking to somebody today about deals in New Orleans. You know what's expensive than a mug in New Orleans? Insurance. Wind, flood, like crazy. Crime, insurance is crazy. So calling up some insurance companies, getting some quotes, understanding what that cost is going to be. That's going to be important. And yeah, are you going to have retail? Right? We see this rent roll line item. Are you going to have retail that you're not going to manage? Or do you have some retail spaces that you're going to lease out to somebody else? Well, that's revenue.
Okay, I was going to ask about that. So when it comes to like which tab is that? Manage F&B. So ideal and for my hotel is that I'm only going to manage the bar, right? So the restaurant, all of the other, most of the amenities will be leased. So where do I need to, outside of where you just showed us, is that what's reflected on the manage F&B? Like that, what's the revenue? Like, would you reflect the lease, the lease amount there?
I wouldn't. So literally that manage F&B tab is exactly what it sounds. It is you managing the F&B. And if you are not going to be managing the F&B, then I would put whatever the rent that you're going to charge. And that's another thing. Food and beverage, there's a bunch of different ways you could make that deal happen.
Okay.
You could charge them a base amount.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a celebrity chef or you have a chef, you could just give him a royalty check for him to be, his name to be on it. I'll give you an example. Hotel Gordon in Albany, Georgia. I wanted a killer chef. I don't know if you've heard of G. Garvin. Anybody familiar with G. Garvin? And you probably know him if you've seen him. He was like the first Black dude on Food Network. Like, I grew up watching this food. So let me actually pull up a picture of this dude. And y'all might recognize him. I don't know. Let me see. Y'all ever seen this dude before? You don't remember him? No? Dang. I must be getting old. I remember G. Garvin on the Food Network. All right, regardless. he has a restaurant in Atlanta called
Why he look like LL Cool J?
That's what everybody used to say when his show was on. Oh man. And he kind of talks like him too. It's funny. But wanted him, he has a restaurant called Low Country Steak. I was like, look, dude, I'm doing a hotel in the Low Country. So I need you to come be the operator. And the way we had worked it out is he was going to get paid like $250K as basically a licensing fee, just really to use his brand name and his likeness. And then all the other additional profit after that, we were going to keep. It was not going to be much, right? Because even if you look at, let me go back to the pro forma and look at the numbers real quick. Yeah, look at the departmental profit. What do you all have for year one? profit at the bottom?
239.
239. So imagine you had to pay somebody 250.
Not much left.
Right, not much left. I have 50 keys on mine, so I actually got a little bit left because I'm anticipating more volume at the restaurant, but it's like 100 grand, you know. So it would all depend on the size of the property, and then you would factor that in, and you would maybe put a line item that said, you know, like brand licensing fee for him,
Mhm.
you know.
Is that under the $sign or the POR?
The $sign of the POR. Where you at?
You said departmental.
Profit line. I don't know. For me, it's line 55. Let me share my screen real quick. Scoot this over. So right here.
Oh,
So yeah, if I had to take 250 out of that, then that's leaving me what, like 100 and something.
So you're basically saying that you like the example for the chef paying him as like a license to use his name and all that.
Yeah, he was gonna. It was. I could even show you the contract. It was like he had to make like 4 appearances or something like that. It was like it listed like how many times he had to show up to the property, all his fees, what he was going to get, and it had it all broken down. And so there's so many different ways to think about food and beverage. You could do it with a lease. You could do it where there's a revenue share, right? Where it's like kind of like a triple net with some kind of revenue share over a certain percentage point. So after they make over, 10%, and you split it. I mean, I've seen food and beverage deals happen a bunch of different ways. It could be a situation where you run the bar and then you lease out the restaurant, right? So if you've ever been into a hotel where they have the lobby bar, and the lobby bar is what's managed by the actual hotel. Then, for example, I worked at the Ritz-Carlton in DC. Lobby bar was us. We had West End Bistro, which was a celebrity chef, Eric Repair, and that was like a totally separate entity. The employees were different, like the way they got paid was different. It was just like totally different. There's multiple ways in which you can do it.
So how do you, okay, because that right there just blows my mind, because it's like, well, what direction should you go when thinking about that? Because I was just thinking, well, just lease out the restaurant space and then just do, run the bar. But, or, if there's another option, I'm just trying to think how, since there's so many different ways of doing it, and I'm like, well, what would fit the best? Would it be based off, the size of the hotel that would, work best?
I have a question to add with that. Like, since there's so much turnover in restaurants, like, is it ever a liability to lease out the restaurant space? Because, like, what if it goes kaput? Does that look like then reflect bad on the hotel?
I mean, that is a risk, right? But let's think about this really quick, because these are all really good questions. Your restaurant goes kaput. What does that mean? Does that mean that they can't pay rent?
They cancel their lease, terminate the lease. They're not making any profit.
And then you have a part of your hotel that's shut down. I just feel like that looks bad on the brand. Even if it's like for a moment.
Yep.
But that moment could be 3 months.
Yeah.
Good. So good.
it seems like it would only be, I mean, I don't know. For me, in my situation, I wouldn't be able to do that because there's not as many vendors or people to choose from to where I can trust their quality. But
Right.
it seems like it would only be worth it if you can get someone who has proven that they know how to run their restaurant. They know that their food is their, like they know what they're doing, and it's a slim chance that it will go kaput, depending on your location as well.
Right.
Yeah, that's good.
Right.
I like that. It's like the
That's-
quality of the vendor.
Yep. And that's why you see, like I said, when you think of a lot of hotel restaurants, what do they usually do? Especially boutiques, they usually have a third-party operator or a celebrity chef for that
You
reason.
know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna have a rotation of celebrity chefs. I'm gonna like make it like a residency.
That could work too.
That's gonna be lit.
There's so many different, when you think about food and beverage, there's so many different ways to skin that cat. That's crazy. All right, real quick, what's the FF&E reserve? What is that? FF&E reserve.
You're saving money, so when you remodel in 7 years, you have money to pay for it.
Yep.
Or like broken, or like messed up furniture and stuff.
Yep. You can pull it from that. Even somebody breaks a bed, you gotta go spend 3 racks on the bed. Pull it from that. Now you got 110,000 left, but you have that reserve, so when it's time to renovate, you got some capital. Yeah, let's see. Let's go over to the managed F&B. It's a great place to be right now since y'all brought it up. Let me zoom out real quick. Does this make sense? Do you understand what you're looking at? Those of you that say that you worked in a hotel, has anybody worked in a restaurant?
That's a hell of a business. I don't know shit about the restaurant business.
I
Hey,
know restaurant business like the back of my hand.
nice, nice. You can actually add more detail to this than what I got. This is very skinny down. But what, in a typical restaurant that you worked at, Miriam, how many covers do you typically get a day? Lunch and dinner. Lunch and dinner, how many covers are you doing? How many seats is the restaurant and how many covers are you doing?
Maybe the seats are like 30. It's a smaller restaurant.
Yep.
I don't know about covers. I can talk like sales depending on like what type of restaurant it is. If it's a club, but if it's like just a regular restaurant, lunch and dinner, I say lower sales would be like 2,000 a day. It could even be lower than that. It could be 1,000 in a day if it's slow season. And then up to like 10K.
Right.
It's like you're selling bottles and liquor and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But if it's like a club, nightclub, it could be even like way more than that.
Way more lit than that, for sure. See. What does that look like as far as the average check size? I got the average check size on food in the restaurant being $22. What is that? It's too low?
Yeah, too low.
All right, tell me where it needs to be.
It's a regular restaurant. I would say like between 90 and 300.
Wait, now does it include beverage? Is that inclusive of beverage? Or would it,
Okay.
yeah,
So
we were
not-
looking out just the food costs.
Just the food. Okay.
Yeah.
Not the bar.
Oh, it is low. I agree. It is
It's
low.
still low. Yeah. I would say then like, depending on the scale of the restaurant, like 60 to 150.
Okay. Let's go. You know what? We're gonna say 75. Average check on the food food costing went up to 75. Look what that did to my revenue. Oh my gosh, it's looking juicy. It's looking juicier, y'all. It's looking juicier, y'all. All right, we got a little rooftop. We got a little rooftop action. The food, it ain't like you ain't gonna get like a full meal. You're gonna get some wings, you're gonna get some light bites. But still, what do you think the average check size is on the rooftop with small apps?
30.
Maybe like 30, 35.
I was thinking about 32. We in alignment. We in alignment. Okay, now the main restaurant, and we had the check size of 75.
Huh?
How much are
Well,
cocktails?
Sorry. It's okay. I just wasn't prepared for
How much are cocktails?
Per ticket, like how much you would spend on.
Hey, come on, y'all. I'm gonna need Chris. Come on, man. You went to a bar.
I mean, in Chicago, a cocktail is going to cost $18.
How much is it gonna cost at your spot? If you're serving cocktails, how much am I gonna pay at your spot? We're not in Chicago now. We're
Yeah.
outside, so
We're middle of nowhere, Michigan or Wisconsin. Probably like 13 or 14. I mean, it's still going to be good, but yeah.
So, all right, 13 or 14, and then on average, Miriam, we're gonna do this collectively. On average, Miriam, are people just coming and getting one drink?
No, 2 to 6.
Damn.
Listen, if you had a rooftop, they
That's
chilling
true. They
there.
probably
Maybe.
Right. Right. Okay, so we're gonna stick with that. We're gonna say in the main restaurant they're gonna do like 2. Okay, we're gonna bump that to 28. On average, you're getting 2 drinks, $28. Rooftop, you're getting 3. Okay, is that fair?
That sounds right.
Or we want to go higher than that? 3.5.
I'm a lightweight at 2. I'm like ready to go to sleep. So I don't know. Other people need to answer this question.
I would say from a bar perspective, well, I guess average is fine, yeah. But like if we're talking beers, I worked many at bars where people like knock out like 12 beers in a sitting. So
we're just saying on average, right? Because you got some people that are gonna go crazy. Let's go 3.5, and we're gonna say, you know what? Because we got a rooftop, we're actually gonna say that those drinks are a little bit more expensive than the ones downstairs. All right, so we're gonna go $15, and we're gonna say 3.5. So it's on average. Woo! Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
Your sound effects are killing me.
Look at that number. What is going on? Okay, let's see something else. We broke this down monthly. So we said the rooftop has 1,800 covers per month on average. Does that seem low?
Okay, question. What does covers mean?
All right, so each time somebody has a check, that's a cover.
Oh, gotcha.
I'm glad you asked that question. Each time you gotta put out a check and somebody gives you a credit card, that's one cover. So you could be having 4 tops, 2 tops. You know what I mean when I'm saying that?
So okay, to get to this number, so this is a monthly cover. So I feel like you have to split up the week, right? So it's like the average of Monday through Thursday and then the average of like Friday through Sunday.
Right.
Because I feel like Friday through Sunday would be an uptick of sales. So you have to do like 2 math problems and then add them together. Is that right, Miriam?
Good. If you really want to get even, break it down even more, create another tab. Say like Monday through Wednesday is this, and then Thursday through Sunday is this. You can do it however you want to, but for me, I just took a running average and I said on average, that's 60 people per day. It seemed low. 60 per day. Seems about average, you know. Monday you might get 40, you know. On the weekend you might get 100, you know. So I don't know. And that's actually not people, that's the ticket. So you actually might have way more people than that, but how many tickets are you actually doing per day on drinks? So if you're saying 60 a day, maybe in the main restaurant it's even lower than that. I don't know.
This would be assumed that it's open to the general public, right? Because you may not have that many rooms at the hotel to get this many covers. If it's
100%.
only okay.
100%. Yeah.
Payment. So on the top, what we're filling out is like monthly covers, average check, and that's like year one, is what we're assuming. Are we factoring in like the hotel won't be as full year one, or like does the equations down below do that?
Yeah. So you are factoring in. The interesting thing about the hotel not being as full is that doesn't have to have anything to do with the food and beverage. It can, doesn't necessarily have to. And it really depends on strategy, right? So you could, an example I'll give you, you could be having these numbers pull as if everything is running the way it's supposed to, but then go to your operating P&L, and of that number, you're only taking a percentage of it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so monthly covers, I should assume like for mine, because it's, so let's say it's middle of nowhere, there's 30 rooms. I should just assume 90 covers a day times 30, which is what, 2,700?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because there's no other option. Like people are gonna have to, at least for one meal, they're gonna have to eat at your spot.
Yeah.
To go. Right. And you probably aren't getting people that are walking in from the neighborhood.
You never know.
Never know.
Yeah, my buddy lived in middle of nowhere, Michigan. And every time I went to go visit him, he like found like this like, you know, farm to table restaurant type of thing that we went to. But yeah, I mean, probably it's going to be mainly guests, I guess.
Right. Right. Yeah, any other questions? You see how I have mini bar in here?
How did you come up with the POR numbers for the room service and the mini bar?
It's a like a portion of the revenue. You can kind of play around with it. And there's a bunch of different ways you can do it, right? Do you anticipate room service being a huge part of your operation? Then maybe you would put it higher.
Cool. So that 10, so what do you have on yours? So you have $1 on room, or $1 on POR of room service. So you're saying room service is like, what does that equate to? That $1.
$1, it's just minimum. It's basically on every $100 that's spent at the property, like, or every guest that comes in, at least one of those dollars is going to go towards room service. I'm not anticipating that it's going to be huge amount of room service happening. And that would be something that you would need to figure out. Are 10% of your guests actually ordering room service? Do you even have room service? Are people just door dashing to the hotel? Because like, quite frankly, that's probably what I'm doing. I'm Uber Eats or door dashing anything I want, and probably not going to pay the crazy fees at a hotel. Do people even still do room service? I don't even know.
Maybe if you want cookies at 3 a.m.
Yeah. But then you don't, if you got a mini bar, I'm raiding that. So I don't know. It really depends on what your strategy is and where you believe, you know, if you're saying like, I don't know, on a percentage basis, 10% of the people that walk through the door and spend money are going to do room service. And so you could literally do 10% of your ADR as your PR number. How will we do that? Let's go back to our pro forma. We're saying our average daily rate, year one, is 177. Let's actually take what our stabilized rate is going to be. 182. So 18. Let's go back to this. Let's say that's 18. What does that do? It's pretty decent. And I believe that that's possible. Maybe. I don't know. All right. Where are we at? We getting close on time. Any other questions? You know, we're gonna be going through this pro forma for like the next 2 weeks. Like, and we've only covered, we still ain't hit all the tabs.
Are we supposed to be like the most optimistic on the pro formas? Or like
That's it.
realistic? Like where are we at?
Realistically conservative. Does that make sense?
Okay, so not super optimistic.
Yeah, you don't want to be too optimistic. Even if you believe that you can do X, Y, and Z, only put in your pro forma what you can defend with your star report. Right? So we talked about that early. One of the first courses is how to pull a star report that cost. If you realize that the rest of the market is doing 150 a night, maybe you only do 155. You say, we're doing something new. We're gonna, outperform the market by a small percentage. The rest of the market is, a whole bunch of Fairfield ends, et cetera. We're gonna come in at 155. See how that works with the deal. If that doesn't work, inch it up a little bit higher, but don't go crazy. That'd be my suggestion. Because I've definitely gotten people to say like, the star report says this, and the bank will say that for sure. The star report saying this, how are you thinking you're gonna get drastically higher than the star report?
I have a question because we weren't able to pull a star report for our location. They just didn't have data in the system.
Same here.
I was imagining it'd be similar for us. What do we do? I mean, like everyone that's looked at our numbers and like our documents this far, have just received that answer as like, oh, okay. But if it does come up at some point where someone's like not so understanding, any suggestions on rebuttals?
Yeah, there's a few ways you can do it. You can go about it. You can look at similar markets that maybe do have star report or star data that you can just pull from. You can also look. Sometimes the Visitors Bureau has information. So if it's maybe Visit Costa Rica or whatever that nonprofit Visitor Bureau is for them, would have that. Another route to go, and I've done this before, is research the rates of other hotels in that area. Just the old.
Oh, wait, my bad. Sorry. So we did do that. Like I have our assumptive ADRs for our competitors. I guess that was a solve. My consultant, I think, just went on Expedia and looked at different times of the year and like got the ADRs for like 12 months based on that.
Yeah, that would be one way. But what's a reason why you probably wouldn't want to do Expedia.
Because they take 20%.
Yeah. So
I think it was, I don't know what they, sorry, I just use Expedia as an example. I don't know what.
the easiest
Well-
way, 'cause I've had to do that before. I've actually gone to the individual hotel website and looked at every single day.
Yeah,
The beauty is, like, if it's a Marriott, you can look at the calendar, which
okay.
I was very thankful that existed. You can look at the calendar, like look at their rate individually for every single day.
Oh, that's cool.
Perpetuity.
Yeah,
That's one way. And then I just put that all in a spreadsheet. Took forever, but that was the easiest way for us to get comp data.
okay.
Would you recommend, because what I did last time I was in Sierra Leone is I just took the whole day, and it's funny because I had to lie. So because they weren't going to give me information about, they were like, oh, there's a competitor that's coming. So I lied and said I was a student and I was doing a project on hospitality in West Africa.
Smart.
It must be nice to have a baby face and be able to pull it on.
And I went to like 8 properties and just like, but then it's subject to human error, right? Because I'm just talking with the managers and they're like guesstimating on their slow season what their occupancy rate is, and on their high season what their occupancy rate is, and their different prices given each season. So it's like I have data, but it's, you know, is that something that I should still
as much data as you can get and as much data as you can use to defend what you're putting here, get it by any means necessary. I love the scrappiness. If that's what it takes to get it, if that's all you got, get it. Another way of getting it is like, are there other hotel properties up for sale? And if there are other hotels up for sale in the general vicinity or the area, they're going to put together marketing materials trying to sell the property. So they're going to try and show you their ADR, their occupancy. That's another space you can use that data. I have so much data from hotels being sold. It's crazy. Freestar reports, you know, for various markets, and it's just, they just are giving it to you. So that's another way or a workaround. Any other questions? This is a lot, man. Y'all powered through. I'm proud of y'all.
Hey, Damon, is it possible to make a copy of this? Because like on my like programming, I feel like I can say like, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go all out. I'm going to build 30 cabins. I'm going to build a main house. I'm going to build a spa. I'm going to have everything right away. Or I could just buy the land and do like 5 cabins and like an event barn. And
Oh yeah. Oh no. Make 5 copies of it. Like,
so how do I do that online though? The make copy is like grayed out.
really?
Yeah.
You know what I would do? Can you download it?
Yeah, I've been messing with it in like Excel, but I know that like you had access to this, so like you can kind of see what we're doing.
Yeah. I mean, obviously in the one that I sent to you, you know, you can, oh, let me see something. Let me actually make it so that you can make a copy. Give me 1 second. I did not know that was the case. I'm gonna make you an owner of it. I'm sorry about that, yeah. Y'all should all be able to make copies of this thing.
I also like wanted to make a copy before I like messed
Mess
it
it
all
up.
up. Yeah.
I feel that too. Let me see. I'm gonna just transfer. Let's see. All right, can you make a copy now or no? Try it one more time or refresh it and try it now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
All right. Perfect. Any other questions? Anybody else? No? How y'all feeling?
A shameless plug. It's about to be my birthday in 10 minutes.
What? You ain't gonna tell us your age though. Ah!
I'm turning 27.
Seriously?
Happy birthday!
Your early birthday.
Yay.
27?
That's wow. I feel like I know like at least 5 people whose birthday was today.
This week. No, I know like too many people
Like-
this week.
Like what was going on 9 months ago?
Spring.
Like,
Easter.
is there a holiday?
Easter, I don't know. Man, that's what's up. All right, anything else? Anything else? I was gonna give y'all some homework, but I'm gonna let y'all live. We're gonna go through, so next next week, let me see what we're gonna go through. Pull up the pro forma. That's Chris's. Where's mine at? All right, whatever. I'm just gonna look at Miriam's real quick. Ooh, we're gonna take a hard look at this key financials tab. That's an important one. I know it probably looks like a whole bunch of gibberish. And the most important one of all of them is the waterfall.
That's what I really want to go over.
Yeah, the waterfall is crazy.
Which one are we doing next week?
So we are going to, you know what, actually, I take that back. I do actually have homework for y'all. I do have homework for y'all. I forgot. I actually did this on purpose. So, and Miriam and Christina, because you weren't here last week, please take a look at the course. I'm gonna send it to you, Christina. I'm gonna actually send it to everybody. Last week's class, I'm gonna email it to you so you'll have it readily available. Because I went through how to like create new line items, etc., and how to like, you know, add additional things to the pro forma. There's something that I did somewhat on purpose. Now, if you look at go to your pro forma 5-year tab. You see that? Can you tell me what your NOI number is on your pro forma 5-year tab? Just rattle it out.
$1.9 million in year 1.
Okay.
For me, it's $1,877,000 for year 5 or year
Year one. Year one.
$1,177,000.
All right. Perfect. Now do me this favor. Now go to your operating P&L tab. What's your NOI? Net operating.
897.
It's different. It's different. It's different. It's different. Why is it different? Because you're going to fix that. It is different because you are going to fix it. So your homework is to fix the NOI and make sure that they are the same. What does that mean? That means that there's certain expenses, like I have overhead expenses, but they're not the same expenses that are showing up in the pro forma as the operating P&L. We just advanced the homework a little bit. First, we just add the development fee. Now you got to make sure that these numbers line up. They're not far off. It's not crazy. They're not far off. But that's the homework.
Damon.
Yep.
Okay, wait, I need, because I'm on my phone and not on my computer. Which tabs NOI from which tab needs to match?
NOI from operating P&L needs to match the NOI from the pro forma 5-year.
Okay.
Yeah. And if you need help, let me know. Book some office hours. I'm gonna do it myself. So I'm doing the same homework as y'all are doing, but it's not very.
NOI from operating P&L to match NOI from 5 years.
And I will, as soon as we hop off, I will be sending you all the. They tried to block. They blocked my video in Russia, y'all, because I was playing some Lucky Day. Isn't that crazy? Actually, you know what? I'm gonna do it right here in the chat. That's the video from last week. Let me know if you have any trouble if it's blocked. It says it was blocked in Russia, but if it's blocked for y'all, let me know. And that's it. That's all I got. All right, man. Anything else? Is Brazil a birthday trip? Lit.
Yeah.
Turn up. Turn up. I haven't had a drink since December 8th. So drink something for me.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy? This is the longest I've ever gone in my life, y'all. Ever in my life. It's wild.
But your stats on Instagram of that weight.
Stupid, y'all. I don't know if y'all see it in my face. I've been doing little exercises in the face, trying to get my face slim, you know what I'm saying? I'm doing little face crunches. Slim, y'all. By the time y'all see me, y'all not gonna recognize me. I'm gonna be a totally different person. Totally different person. All right. Y'all having fun? Is understanding the numbers, understanding the fees, is it fun?
Yeah.
You understanding? Okay. And honestly, practice makes perfect. Play around with this pro forma, know it, understand it, try and figure out. If you have questions, let me know. I'm happy to help. Book the office hours. I'm happy to help. So just let me know. And that's it. That's all I got.
Thanks, Damon. It is actually a really enjoyable learning experience.
All right, I'm happy to hear that. I appreciate that feedback. It should be enjoyable. This is fun stuff. And the more you get to understand it, man, this is some fun stuff. You know what I'm saying? Chris, I don't know if you understand, man. This is some fun stuff.
It is fun. I mean, that's why I signed up.
This is fun. Natasha, you on your way there. You got your LOI. It's time, y'all. It is time. It is time. So I appreciate y'all, and I will see you next week. I'm gonna send that calendar invite earlier.
We're doing it, y'all. It's happening. We're doing it.
Doing it. See you next week.
Night.
Happy birthday, man.
Happy birthday.
Yeah. Happy birthday.
Good
Enjoy.
night, everybody.
All right.